military industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Fear itself. Fear itself. Fear itself. Where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall never surrender.
My prepper brothers and sisters, you've arrived at the bunker. Grab a cup of joe, a stout tea, or maybe your favorite adult beverage. This is the prepper's place for open discussion on whatever the hell we want. Brought to you whatever the hell way we want. This is the new format of Top's Bunker. So sit down, kick back, post up, relax, and welcome to the bunker.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Military industrial complex.
And we as a people will get to the promised land.
We will make America strong again, proud again, safe again. We will make America great again.
Preppers, survivalists, off-gridders, homesteaders, and the like. Welcome to Top's Bunker, a podcast for preppers. Email us at shtf@topsbunker.com. Our website is topsbunker.com. Don't forget to check out the show notes on your podcast player for valuable links and extra info on this episode. I want to thank y'all for joining us. We got a great show for you tonight. Buddy and I are joined by special guests Brittany and Mike from Refuge Medical. As a director of operations for Refuge Medical, Brittany plays a vital role in running the company alongside its owner. Starting as the social media manager, her dedication and unwavering make it happen and figure it the F out mindset quickly earned her the leadership role she holds today. Beyond her professional achievements, she is a devoted wife and mom of 4, proudly married to a Marine Corps veteran. She's currently thriving in her non-toxic products, no artificial dyeing, canning, gym-going hot mess of a mom life that she cherishes. With a heart for mission work and a passion for saving lives, she is proud to be a part of a company whose first aid kits have contributed to saving over 140 lives. Mike, known as Medic Mike, served on active duty and reserve Marine Corps in many locations in the U.S. and abroad in both regular and deployment assignments. Medic Mike runs the medical training classes at Refuge Medical, as well as phone jockeying, customer service questions, and assistance. Mike is the real deal. To say that he has a large list of achievements would be an understatement. I'll put Mike's full bio in the show notes for y'all to peruse. Mike, Brittany, thank you guys so much for accepting our invitation and being on the show tonight. Let's get to it.
Response times of your local, you need to find out what the response time is. And I can tell a little story about how I was laying with a chainsaw accident, laying on the ground, and they said it'd be like 45 minutes, and I'm bleeding out. No, we didn't even have a first aid kit, and I'm like, that ain't gonna work. Can somebody put me in the truck? We can be there in 5.
Should have had your chaps, man.
Well, I can't wear a chap on your head.
You hit your head with a chainsaw?
Oh, that's a long story, man.
Yeah,
I don't want to go into it. No, let's just say I'm not the safety guy. I'd never win an OSHA safety award.
Okay,
didn't read the instructions.
Yeah,
I don't think men instructions.
No, the instructions are for
women.
I wasn't going to say that, but since you did, I'll
I'm a woman. I can say it.
I'll politely agree with that. So
yep. I will happily read them and put it together right every time.
Thank you guys so much for coming on tonight, man. I've been asking Buddy for a long time now to see if I can't get you guys on. It's been like, yeah, we can, maybe, here we go. And now you're on. So, I mean, this is great.
Yeah.
We're happy to be here.
For sure.
Let's just jump right into it. Let's start with Refuge Medical.
Okay. So I am Brittany. I am the director of operations for Refuge Medical. And I actually started with the company running our TikTok channel and our social media back 3.5 years ago. We've kind of built our brand on social media. So our TikTok channel is still one of the larger followings that we have. And we've just built most of our platform and our what we call Refuge Nation, which is the community of people we built. We built it on social media. So we definitely have a big following. And being able to get educational content across to people like that, why they need to carry first aid on them is definitely a big thing in social media world.
I mean, our followers are loyal. They literally, every time we go live, it's the same people almost every time. And there's usually 80 to 100 every time we go live. It's the same, nation people.
When you go live, what type of event is it?
We do a Wednesday live stream where it's every Wednesday at 1 and we'll just talk and we do like Wednesday wins, we call it. So we kind of want to celebrate with the people in our community, whatever's going on in the world, especially because the rest of the news focuses on so much negative stuff. So we really try to focus on the positive. And then we just answer questions and kind of hang out for an hour with everybody. Sometimes we do giveaways. And then some days we'll just go live on the production line while we're packing first aid kits and answer questions. TJ from Bear Independent is who founded Refuge Medical. He started it in his barn 5.5, almost 6 years ago. We started in a 250 square foot office and we've now quickly grown to 8,000 square feet and own land next to us to be able to put another building out there.
I once walked around your facility a couple times with a tourniquet on my thigh.
Why?
Because it was great training. But if you get any more land and get a bigger facility, I don't know. I might have to stay home for training and do it on the YouTubes.
Yeah, that is something that we definitely do in our training that's different than most, is we do a lot of scenario-based training. And we do, Mike, how many tourniquet applications do they get normally in a class?
30.
30 at minimum, most classes. And they're full tourniquet applications.
Yep.
They're not like, just apply it. Like you need to actually stop the blood flow. We check the pulse.
Yep.
To make sure people are doing it correctly, because in that moment of stress, when you need it, you don't want to be thinking about it. You don't want to take that moment to pull up YouTube and figure out how to apply it. You want to be able to just apply it without thinking, because seconds matter in those moments.
Yeah, the training we give is like stop the bleed and then some, and it's kind of like a dumbed down version of TCCC, Tactical Combat Casualty Care, minus the O course. But we pretty much, because I used to teach TCCC in the military, so it's a dumbed down version for the civilians, because a lot of the people we get are not military aged males or females that are all in the peak of their fitness. So we tailor down to their abilities, but we still make them breathe pretty heavy.
Yeah, we had a student in the last class, and he was 100% blind. And he took the full 2-day, 20-hour course with us, and he was one of the best in the class. He was outstanding on all things he was learning.
Yeah, he was doing tourniquet application by feel, not by seeing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He brought somebody along with him to kind of help him through it, but he was awesome.
Yep.
We've had 70-year-old grandparents come and do class.
Kids, even kids.
Yeah, we've done a micro responder where we trained down to like 5 and 6-year-olds too with their parents.
I love to watch in the middle of your lives that somebody will come on the chat and say, tourniquet, right arm, go. And then you'll stop the whole recording and put it on. The thing I love about Refuge is they practice what they preach.
I've got a ton of cat tourniquets, ton of them, bunch of them, boxes of them. I used to sell them. And all I know is what I've seen. I've never actually done one. I've just seen it on YouTube. I've never had somebody with a leg cut off or anything. I've never had a reason to use one.
Yeah, so when we stress them out in the training scenarios, we've had people actually call back and say, man, when that happened in real life, it wasn't as stressful as it was for me in class. I just did it because it was there. Because obviously, you got to keep practicing, because it's kind of like,
Well, you fall to your level of training too in those moments. So if you haven't trained, when you do need it, you're going to fall to whatever training you've done at that point, just like with our firearms.
Yep, you don't do range time, you're not going to be proficient.
It's a perishable thing too.
And then we even brought in the class when, once you have your tourniquet on, go to the range and try and shoot your sidearm with tourniquet on your arm. First your non-dominant, then with your dominant, and see how much targets you, or how much you pull.
How many misfires?
Yep. And you try to cycle, or you change magazines with that tourniquet on your arm when it's fully on.
It's really easy to limp wrist when you have a tourniquet on your arm.
I never thought of that. So you're talking about still being functional with a tourniquet.
Because over time, it won't matter because you'll be proficient because you've done it on your range, or in your backyard or wherever you go shoot your weapon at.
Yep. We also have mentioned if you carry something to put holes in things, you should also carry something to be able to plug those holes because bullets go both ways.
Yep.
That's a great point right there.
Yep.
And real quick, Mike, is it Mike or you go by Medic Mike?
That's the nickname the store gave me.
I saw it online. I'm like, what is Medic Mike?
Yeah. So I mean, just like anyone else in the military, the infantry, I've been called Doc my whole life, but there's already a Doc in the building, so I couldn't take that line. So, no, I mean, medic. It's stuck. But like I said, I was a medic in Vegas for nearly almost 30 years. So, and obviously I was a Navy corpsman attached to the Marines. So, but like I said, TJ offered me a job. I was getting ready to retire. We were actually looking for land out here in Oklahoma. And it all worked out. And I've been at the store for about a year, just basically do production and I assist in training.
And you get to answer the phone.
And I answer the phone.
So anytime customers have
customer
questions.
service too. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, is that right?
So yeah, all of our our phone number on our website, you call, you're going to get one of us in the office. We don't third party any of it. We don't AI any of it. Even our live chat on our website, most of the time will come to one of 3 phones, which is me, TJ, the owner, or our marketing director, Lauren. Those are the 3 people that watch our live chat pretty much all the time. I actually answered a customer the other night at like 10 o'clock at night because I just happened to be awake and they had a really easy question. I wouldn't say always that late do we answer it, but if we can, we try.
Dedicated. And then that's why you are enjoying the success. That's one of the reasons why you're enjoying the success. I was on your website and I saw, tell me if this is true or not. I saw a person's name that said Forrest Stump.
That's actually my dad.
What's that all about? I mean, is that really his name?
Yes, that is really his name. And he actually worked at Blockbuster when the movie Forrest Gump came out. And I was growing up, I'm the oldest of 6, so I'm his oldest child. And I used to tell people his middle name was Tree. So everybody just thought his name was Forrest Tree Stump.
Wow.
I am so sorry, Forrest, if you're listening, but I'm so sorry for bringing that up as a joke. I thought it was a joke.
He knows.
No, I was going to say, it was a thing growing up. Whenever we'd call and order pizza and put his name on it, they think we were making a prank. Like they didn't believe that was his name. No, his parents really named him that.
Okay, so guys, let's jump into the importance of first aid. And that's really what our listeners are going to be tuning in for.
Absolutely.
They're going to want to know why it's so important that we would bring on experts like y'all to talk about this.
Well, prime example, if you chainsaw your head, you're going to need something to stop the bleed.
Now, come on, give me a break here. That's our joke, okay?
Gotcha.
And for the listeners out there, I might have had an accident or maybe I didn't with the chainsaw to the head, but that's another story.
There's one thing that we always tell people when we're getting asked this question, why do I need to carry first aid? And we remind them like you, the listener, you are the only person that's ever going to be at your own emergency. The ambulance is not going to be there on site as soon as it happens, or, the doctor in the OR is not going to be there on site. Even, having Mike as our medic, like he's not going to be everywhere when an accident happens. So you need to have the training and you need to have the medical components, first aid kit on you, because if you don't have it when you need it, you don't have it. Accidents happen every day. The most dangerous thing we do is
have
drive.
a first aid kit on your tractor, but if you're 30 feet, 50 feet from your tractor and you drive a stake through your toe and you're stuck to the ground, if you don't have your tourniquet in your pocket or whatever, you should have at least some simple stuff in your cargo pockets, or we have an ankle kit, that's non-invasive, that you can barely notice, at least have something on you. But yes, definitely have a first aid kit for your car, your tractor, or your side-by-side, whatever it's used on your homestead.
I've tried to remember how many car accidents I've stopped at, and I run to my glove box to get my, and this is the old me, not the new me, not after the Refuge intervention, but before Refuge, I'd run with my medical kit, the little first aid thing that just had Band-Aids in it. And you got somebody sitting there, with a head, bleeding out, or, some kind of a laceration or something and bleeding. And I'm like, okay, with all my medical training from the military, it was like, well, Band-Aids aren't going to work. Oh, here's my shirt that, I just bought. Let's try this.
Yep.
Yeah. What most people don't realize is the most dangerous thing we do outside of our house every day is drive vehicles. I mean, and you don't know who's texting in the car next to you or who's, intoxicated, or there's just crazy things that happen every day.
So many distractions nowadays.
Yep. And if, that's what most of our lives saved, of the 144 lives saved, probably a quarter of them, if not close to half, have been motor vehicle accidents.
How do you get that number? Have people contacted you and let you know that your gear worked?
Yeah. So one of the main things that we do is we will replace any components that are used to save a life for free. And that gives us the data back from somebody using the kit. We get to kind of hear an AAR because we're continuously upgrading our kits or changing them to make them more user friendly based on what people tell us. And then 2, we get to, replace their components and give them a little bit of like an ear to listen. We've had a few cases where it was one of the I'm thinking of recently, it was a domestic abuse and it was his neighbor and he could hear something happening and he went in and the guy was just, beating up the girl and he actually had to shoot and take him down because he started charging at him. And she had already been stabbed and a lacerated arm. So he not only took out the assailant, but he also had to render aid and apply a tourniquet to the female to save her life.
And because that life is saved, you guys would actually send a brand new one free of charge because of that and take the story in return?
Yep. So all we do is we take
That's
the story.
Amazing.
We ask if it's okay for us to share it. A lot of the time we'll remove names and things like that.
Sure.
And then we replace anything that they used completely for free because medical supplies is not cheap, especially quality gear. You don't want cheap medical supplies. And we don't want anyone to not use the gear because they think like, I don't have the funds to replace it. Because most of the time you're not getting it back. Once there's blood on it, you're applying it to somebody, they're not going to take it off and send you home with it.
Yeah.
You're celebrating saving a life. That's awesome.
That's our whole mission statement is preservation of life, in the Father's kingdom. That's basically our mission statement in a nutshell.
Yep. We've never claimed to be the cheapest option. We've always stood behind high quality. We lifetime guarantee all of our bags. We stand behind the quality and the mission of Refuge because we want a first aid kit to be in every American vehicle. We want it to be in every home because we always pray that nobody needs to use the gear, but if they do need to use it, they have it and they have it when they need it most and it won't fail on them. We've seen time and time again, especially in training, people will bring in their tourniquets that they already carry and they'll be cheap Amazon knockoffs and we'll break them in class. And we don't want anyone to ever be in that moment that they're needing to use a tourniquet on somebody and it breaks and it fails. Yeah, we want to keep more people on this earth here. And we always want, people to end eternally with the Father because we are definitely, the Father is behind all of what we've done here.
Christian-based company?
Yes. So we say whole Bible believers. So we believe in the whole Bible. We follow the Leviticus 11 diet. Some people would call it like Torah observant. But that's kind of the faith behind what we do. Yeah.
Very nice. All right. So, buddy, you brought up something about, seeing a car wreck and going over and help somebody. I've got a quick question about that and we can move on to other stuff. Should you actually, I know you should and you will render help, but if you do, are you putting yourself in any kind of jeopardy as far as, liability?
Well, there's a Good Samaritan Act and I'm trained, so I feel obligated. I had this complex back a long time ago where I had to save the world. So I don't know. I've just always been like that. If there was a kid on the playground getting bullied, I'd step in. It's something I would do, and a lot of times I couldn't really do much, but sit there and kind of comfort them until, response time came, and that's something I'd like to, for the Refuge folks to talk about, because a lot of times it seems like decades before they're going to get there.
So it depends on the size of the city or town you live in. Like I said, I was in Las Vegas, so there's 2.5 million people in Vegas. So our response times on the ambulance when I was there, we had to be there in 8 minutes and 59 seconds or less, or we would get fined because it's a private ambulance franchise thing. So, but we were a dual tier system. So the private ambulance would run with the fire department. They had medics also. So one of us would get there first. But in the rural, now that I'm in a rural county, it's really weird for me seeing the response times. But again, we're in the sticks now. The closest big city is 25 miles east of us, where the big hospital is. And but I think the county has only 4 or 5 ambulances, and I don't even know if they're all ALS. And a lot of these people, because it's a small county, or I'd say a poorer county, it's not like we're in the big city like Oklahoma or Tulsa. the wages for an EMT is ridiculous, and they have a high turnaround. So it could be the kid's first day on the job if he shows up. And we have stories about, where we've done stuff as Refuge, as first responders showing up, and the EMT show up and asking us what to do.
Well, I've had to do that too. My brother got kicked off a horse one time, and I was the first one to the scene, and it took me 20 minutes to get there.
Yeah.
And another 10 minutes, I finally got the horse off of him and so on. And, I was doing what I could for him. And when they finally showed up, the guy that would only been on the job, he was training. He was,
an intern,
I guess, doing his intern stuff. The guy, he goes, I don't know what to do. And so we actually walked him through, because my brother's lung collapsed. We walked him through because of both of us were in the Army and our medical training. We walked the guy through this, and I was just beside myself of the lack of training that they had. Now I have friends that are on the bus, and they're good. They've been doing it for years, and they love their job and stuff. And I assume that they're good at their job, but you never know what you're going to get.
What is that term you guys keep using on the bus?
The ambulance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
they call it
you
the
guys
boo-boo
call
bus.
it a bus? The boo-boo bus.
boo-boo
All
bus.
right.
Yep.
I do want to make a point going back to Good Samaritan. Good Samaritan laws vary state by state, so you'll want to look into whatever your state says. But most of the time, it just doesn't cover any new holes. So you can't put any new holes into somebody, which would be like decompression needles, IVs, nasopharyngeal airways.
Right,
I'll
gotcha.
caveat on top of that, as a former paramedic, if I'm not there in a professional capacity and I go run on one of my friends or one of my family members, technically I cannot, even though I know that I have the training, I've been doing it forever and ever, I cannot start an IV on that person, even though I probably would, because it's my family. But I would have to justify that.
Mm-hmm. And it opens you for a lawsuit
Right.
at that point. That's what, if you go outside of the Good Samaritan, it just opens you up for a lawsuit. But if it's your wife or your child, you're going to do what you need to do, because one, they're probably not going to sue you, and two, it's somebody you love and it's their life that's on the line. But doing things like applying a tourniquet or even, wound packing gauze or an ETD is covered under most states. Good
You're
Samaritan.
not making new holes.
Yeah, you're not making
Nothing
any new
invasive.
holes. Yep.
Well, thank you for clarifying that, because I've heard bad things about Good Samaritan Act as far as like giving people medicine or that sort of thing.
You technically should not give medicine to anybody, even if it's over the counter aspirin or Motrin. I mean, because again, now if you leave the bottle on the tailgate of your truck and they take some, that's on them, but you did not give it to them. So there's great.
And in class, on all of our training classes, we really cover things that are covered under the Good Samaritan. And then if we do talk about like a decompression needle, because we don't teach them how to use it, but we talk through what it is and what it does. We will make sure we say this is not covered under the Good Samaritan. But 99% of what we actually physically teach is covered under the Good Samaritan.
Real quick, I live way out in the middle of the sticks. I'm in the woods, way out in the woods. It's 20 minutes on a dirt road before I even get to a paved road. I've got a homestead, and I keep bees, and I've got farm equipment, and very dangerous stuff. It's a small town, a small county. So I'm very far away from any kind of medical help whatsoever. I have about, 5, 6, probably at least a half a dozen really good, top quality, like I think they're Class B, ANSI rated, OSHA, ISO, all that stuff, kits. They've got with lots of stuff in them. But and I've got them everywhere. I got them in my truck. But you guys have stuff that's more, to me, it looks more tactical. So are they all sort of in the same level, the same range of quality?
So all of our components are going to be at the same quality. Our bags kind of different capabilities depending on if we have ones that can go on plate carriers or range belts. They are tactical. I think a lot of people look at the Cordura, the 1000D Cordura, as the tactical side of it. And that's kind of where we started, because we wanted it to be durable. We wanted it to last. We lifetime guarantee our bags. And that way, if they break or rip, we will replace it at no cost to them. And I think we've replaced 6 or 7 bags out of the hundreds upon thousands of bags that we've sold at this point, because our quality is what it is. And all of our bags are sewn in our house, under roof. We have a sew shop now that is actually in-house sewing majority of our IFAC bags. And it's one of those things that's like, It is tactical, but we've really tried to tailor it to your mom and dad civilian, everyday people, as well as, you know, the guys who are carrying the firearms or, you know, in military. But when we started it, it was, you know, that rugged military tactical side of things.
Yeah. So also on that tactical side, we've had soft forces on all the services test some of our gear. Our gears, as TJ said a million times on his podcast or his web things, they've been on all the continents. We've had, one of our bags has been jumped by pararescue and SEALs and Green Berets. So because they wanted to test our gear. So and they also, some of those guys are our guest instructors from their experiences. That we have a big training last year, and we had a whole bunch of special forces medics and guys, not even the medics, but the operators that were teaching a big class we did last year to give them their perspective on things that they've seen on their tours. So like I said, but yeah, our gear was initially for the tactical law enforcement officer, but we also have soccer mom bags and but they're just as tough.
Yeah, and that's something I really enjoy about the Refuge is they have such a variety of bags that, you know, if you're going out on your Harley for the weekend and you needed a specialty kit that would go, you know, on your Harley, they have one.
We just launched the Biker Fact within the last 60 days. And it was crazy. We sold out within 48 hours of our first launch. We did not realize how much of the motorcycle community wanted first aid gear on them and just didn't have it already.
We didn't tailor to that market until that guy just out of nowhere did a meeting with one of our salespeople, right? It was Don. Mm-hmm. And it blew up. Like, it was crazy.
Well, yeah, I carry when I'm doing my things that I do, as Mike has said before, that sketchy hood rat shit. I'm wearing an ankle kit with me daily. I have the travel fact in my vehicle. Need to get a couple more because they're awesome. If I can't do the ankle kit, then I use a slick kit with in my pocket with either a soft tourniquet or a cat tee. I have different configurations that I go with daily, depending on what I'm doing. And the cool thing about it is Refuge, you can do that with them. Unlike a lot of the other places I've shopped where you get this kit. And if it has something in there you don't use, you're not going to, you have to use, you have it. You don't have a choice.
Yeah. We'll custom build the kit to what you want to do. I mean, we've built kits for people that go scuba diving and canoeing, make them waterproof. But if you're on the homestead or the farm, you're using all those tools, tractors, sharp objects, so yeah, you should always have that stuff accessible if you're going to be doing farm work and homesteading and chickens and whatever.
I'm constantly bleeding. Constantly. Yep. I'm always cutting my hands and fingers and I'm constantly bleeding.
Oh yeah. Things happen, accidents happen. We actually had somebody use our suture kit on one of their chickens a few years ago. Yeah.
Wow.
They're like, that's an expensive chicken for you to use sutures on it,
Don't they cost $2?
They must have really loved that chicken.
As prepper survivalists, first aid and the ability to use first aid go hand in hand, the same way that preparedness and survivalism go hand in hand. To survive an SHTF event, we must be prepared prior to the event, which means having quality gear for the mission at hand. Having complete and comprehensive first aid kits at the ready is a no-brainer. But as we've said time and time again, having the best gear that money can buy won't get you very far if you don't know how to use it. Of course, we all know how to put a bandage on a boo-boo, but do you know how to check a person's pulse, clear a blocked airway, seal an open wound, or stop the bleed? From everyday injuries to unexpected accidents to the zombie apocalypse itself, knowing how to use our first aid kits is just as important as having them in our preps. Refuge Medical doesn't just offer first aid kits and gear. They offer training on how to use them in real-world situations. They have lots of informative videos on their YouTube channel, Refuge Medical, as well as a weekly live stream that you can be a part of, and of course, in-person in-person medical training classes at the Refuge Medical Training Facility in Oklahoma. It is absolutely worth the road trip, especially if one day it helps to save someone's life. Check out Refuge Medical at refugemedical.com and take advantage of the 10% off your first purchase using this special code at checkout, TOPS10. That's TOPS 10. Yes, Refuge Medical is giving a 10% discount to all Tops Bunker podcast listeners on their first purchase at refugemedical.com. This offer will not last. Links will be in the show notes. Don't miss out. Now, back to the show.
So, what is your top selling kit there at Refuge Medical?
So our top selling kit is still going to be our flagship. It's what started Refuge in the very beginning. It's going to be the Bear Fac. It's now on the version 3.0 because we're continuously upgrading and updating not only the components, but the bag itself. And that's going to cover the full Marchi algorithm. So it's going to cover massive bleeding, airway and respiratory, head injury, hypothermia, circulation, and everything else. So it really is like it's a pretty one-stop shop for an individual IFAC.
Yep. It is an IFAC, but since it's Bear's IFAC, it's the Bear Fac.
Yep.
Now, just for our listeners out there that maybe not familiar with Bear, can you tell us a little bit about Bear?
Yeah. So TJ is the founder of Refuge, and he started Refuge on his YouTube channel called Bear Independent. He started it in his barn. He had an idea, or he actually was looking for a first aid kit one day, and he could only find ones that were either low quality, only had the fluff in them, and not anything that fit his needs of like exactly what was needed and good high quality. So he had an idea and he decided he was going to build his own. He had a buddy who could sew things and gave him, the plans for it. He always has this theory, and it's that your medical kit should not stay attached to you. So most of our kits have a inner that deploys out of them that then still holds all the gear. It can be opened with one hand, laid on the ground, and it is prioritized by the Marchi algorithm where everything is laid out. And that was something that he didn't see in other first aid kits. They were always either stuck to the body on your person or stuck to, in your vehicle or just a big bag. So he had a buddy, he sewed the idea, and then he gave it to some of his friends, some of his guys who were in the military friends, and kind of got their thoughts on it. And then showed it on his YouTube channel, and people were, that's what they wanted. And everybody said it was something in the market that was a need that could be filled. And then that was in his barn. He was packing kits on his kitchen table for months, and then moved into the 250 square foot building. And now we're at 8,000 square feet. 5.5 years in with 144 lives saved.
And we have different sizes, shapes, and colors now.
Yeah, it has definitely quickly expanded, but it was all because one guy, couldn't find what he was looking for and decided to fill the need in the market space.
And you could really tell that he put a lot of thought into that, just being a combat veteran and being in combat more than once.
Yeah, one of the things is it's going to cost more for the flowers at your funeral than it is for the first aid kit.
Yeah, that's a good point. And let me say this, that it was a pain in the ass to go to the IFAC and get into somebody, you didn't want to use your stuff on somebody else.
Right.
So you're having to move people, roll them over, do different things to get to it. And it just took time that was, when somebody's wounded in combat, time is of the essence. So
when I was in Iraq in 2003 for the initial push, I was basically a squad medic for the rifle. Well, I was a platoon corpsman, but for the squad I was attached to, I had all my Marines put their IFAC in their left hip pocket or their left cargo pocket, and that was First Sergeant said, "Doc's in charge of medical, do what he says," and I made all my Marines put it in their left pocket so everyone knew where their stuff was. That was my SOP for my platoon.
Well, after trial and error, we tipped ours upside down, so when you did hit the little button to open it, the little I don't know what to call this, molly clip.
Well, they didn't even have commercial tourniquets when 03. The cat didn't even come out yet, so we were doing the little stick and the cravat. That was our tourniquet.
Yeah, and how many sticks are in the suburbs of Baghdad? Out there out there.
I made little 1/2-inch PVC pipes. I cut them before we deployed, but
and people don't realize how much medical has changed just in the last 23 years. I mean, you said 03, Mike, when you were there, and they were doing that, and now that we have things like the Cat Gen 7 and the Soft T and their TCCC recommended tourniquets, people keep having this mindset that, tourniquets equal loss of limb, where they've actually proven that's not true, because with proper tourniquets, properly sized, being the 1.5 inches thick, so you don't cause nerve damage or compartment syndrome, and they're applied correctly, they've had the longest application was 19 hours of a Cat Gen 7 tourniquet.
Without the loss of a limb?
Without the loss of a limb. There is not there's not a single recorded reason for a loss of a limb due to the tourniquet. The loss of the limb was due to the injury that caused it, but it was not because of the tourniquet.
And that's a good point. I took your class a couple years ago. I took the Responder 1 and 2 back when you had them separate. I was going through my TCCC training, and I'm like, why you don't put a tourniquet on? You put a tourniquet on, they're going to lose their limb. And that was my thinking up until that point. And I'm glad I took the class to get refresher training, because not everything has changed, but that part had changed,
Yeah, they have a lot of data from, overseas, and
all the GWAT data. I mean, there's thousands and thousands of pages of white paper data on the tourniquet and the stuff we did in GWAT that now applies to because like when I started in EMS, we didn't have tourniquets on the truck. And now that's part of our go bags, so that's all because of the military.
Wow. That's at least something good came out of the GWAT.
Right.
So, buddy, you asked what was the most popular kit that they've got, and they said the Bearfac. What my question would be is, what is the most often used items inside of an IFAC?
Tourniquet.
It's going to be the tourniquet or the wound packing gauze. I would say like the wound packing gauze ETD might come as a close second, but tourniquet applications are going to be like our number one component that's used for lives saved.
And ETD is a new name for the Israeli bandage.
Yeah, it's an emergency trauma dressing or Israeli bandage.
Okay.
That's the new terminology.
Oh, it's gold too, man. Where was that my whole life? Israeli bandage is good stuff.
Yeah, but you still got the regular everyday first aid in there, right? I mean, Band-Aids and things like that.
So yeah, we do have Band-Aids in some of our kits. That doesn't come in all of our kits. And most of our kits are going to have tourniquets, wound packing gauze, chest seals, ETD.
Majority of the kits are built around the March E algorithm, which is a TCCC thing and a American College of Surgeons thing. And like I said, all that white paper data, but I'm sorry to cut you off.
You're good. We do have a kit called the Adventure Kit, which we say is our homesteading family kit. And that's going to cover broken bones, bullet holes, and boo-boos. So it has your Band-Aids, but it also has your burn gel cream, and it has your tourniquet and ETD, and it has a SAM splint in it. It has finger splints,
OTC meds,
OTC wipes, and triple antibiotic.
I'm used to seeing that kind of stuff in med kits.
Yeah, so that's kind of our like buy once, cry once. It's going to cover you everything, whereas like our IFACs are individual first aid kits that you're carrying on your person or in your vehicle every day, where if a critical bleed were to happen, you could stop it.
Then next step are the backpack models. We have a small backpack and a big backpack, which is a stomp bag.
Which is a full field hospital on your back. Yep. It is huge. Wow,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I need to bring my bag in and have somebody look it over, because it's been robbed over the years.
Well, the one thing that you said earlier about Bear, and I remember Bear Independent, the actual YouTube channel, but one thing you said was that Bear didn't like these kits to be attached to your body where they weren't coming off. You had to use them on your body. And I've got a few kits that are attached to like, Molly or whatnot. And I'm always like trying to rip them off to actually be able to get into them and actually use them. So that's a really good point. They should be able to come off of your body and be able to work, on the floor, on the ground, on the hood of a car, or on the tailgate, something like that.
Yeah, that's why we have the inner bag with all the components, and you can pull it off. Because like, what if your hand was blown off and you got only one hand to work with? He wanted to make sure you could open it with just one hand in case you had an injury to your other hand. So
we've had I think it was 2 lives saved that are from 4th of July. From firework accidents. And we actually had one lady where she blew off almost all of both of her hands, and her husband had to apply two tourniquets.
Oh, man.
The mortar went off too soon.
You're kidding me.
No, it was, we always, like 4th of July is one of those, we always know that aid rendered or live saved stories are going to come in after the fact. And we really try to push people, like if you're going to launch fireworks, please have a tourniquet, please have first aid on you, because it's a really dangerous thing that people do most of the time while they're drinking, you know?
Yeah, I can tell you during 4th of July when I was working on the bus, every time July 4th came around, I was like, job security.
So you do have burn stuff, sprays or whatnot.
Oh, yeah. We have an assorted amount of burn dressings. I was going to say there's burn dressing in most of our kits, some sort of burn dressing or burn cream, but we've even built a few buckets. So if you are a prepper, you probably, stock food or other supplies. We actually built a few buckets now that are built in 5-gallon or 3.5-gallon buckets to be able to add into your prep. So we have one that was the wound care bucket. That's the first one we started with. And it is long-term wound care for 30 days. It treats one injury depending on the size for 30 days. And it is full of gauze, antibiotics or antibiotic cream,
gloves,
a crazy amount of gloves.
Yep.
Just to be able to take care of that wound, either after the hospital or if you were to have not gone to the hospital and you're home and you're taking care of something.
Or even SHTF for the prepper's mindset.
Yeah, that's really what it is. It's built in a 5-gallon bucket, so it stocks with your food or your preps, and it's waterproof. And then we built the birth and postpartum bucket. So I'm a mom of 4. I have had 4 home water births, and we built baby birthing buckets. So the birth bucket has everything essential in it to be able to bring a baby into the world. And then the postpartum bucket is to take care of mom after she brings the baby into the world. And we've had 7 babies born with the baby birthing bucket because they just had it, on them if something happened. And on the few cases that, the baby came too fast and we had one person, they were on their way to the hospital or the birth center, I think it was.
It also assists the midwife too, if you have a midwife.
Yeah, it does have a lot of the components in it that if somebody's wanting to have a home birth and has a midwife, it's going to have the items that are normally on the list the midwife gives you. And so we made the birth and postpartum bucket, and then we did the surgical bucket, which is built to be able to do, we say topical surgery. It is not arterial reconstructive surgery by any means, but it is sutures, and it is, able to irrigate the wound.
Sterile sheets, the whole 9 yards.
Yep. So you could do your basic surgical things. And then we have a burn bucket, which is full of a bunch of burn dressings, a bunch of gauze. And it's just one of those things that's easy to throw into your preps, especially the baby birthing bucket. Because one thing we all know is babies are going to keep being had, whether it's SHTF or not.
That's true. Yep. And you had 4 home water births.
Yes, I have.
Wow. That's impressive. Man,
she's a trooper.
I mean, seriously. Wow.
Oh, and then after 3 weeks postpartum, you did the first class, the rescues.
I was 6 weeks postpartum with baby number 4. I took our full responder 1, 2, and 3 with the baby. I basically had my sister be there to be able to watch over him while we were in class. And then during breaks and stuff, I would nurse him. But I was like MVP of the class as well. And I always tell people, I don't want to hear your excuse. I was here, 6 weeks postpartum with baby number 4. And I, completed the class. And now we had a blind guy take the class. I'm like, you have no excuse.
Yeah. And like I said, we've had senior citizens that take the class. They did it at their own pace, but they finished.
Yeah. Well, and we tailor it to them. Yep. We're not going to expect the same thing out of the 20.
Yeah, we're not going to smoke the 84-year-old for sure.
Brittany, you do know there's a thing called hospitals where they do that.
Right? Yes, there is.
Babies are born in hospitals. You get that?
Yeah, but I mean, the Father created us to have babies, and people are having babies all across the world, whether there's a hospital there or not.
And they were having babies before hospitals.
Yeah, and they were having babies before hospitals. I just chose to have my baby in the comfort of my home and my germs. And,
wow.
I can crawl back into my bed. There's actually a funny story. I crawl back into my bed after I give birth in my own home. I don't have all these things attached to me. And I actually was on a business Zoom call 4 hours after giving birth because it was a really big meeting, and it just happened to be the same day my son decided to come into the world. So TJ did not want me to be on the call, but I had worked really hard for that project, and it was kind of like a launch call for one of the projects we were working on. And I was like, I'm not going to let anything stop me. I will sit here in my bed with my 4-hour-old child on my chest and, we'll hang out. So,
wow.
Yeah, Refuge has kind of become like a mission for us, especially working here. Like, we do something more than just sell components. We actually love what we do and the mission behind saving lives with first aid gear.
Yep. Well, like I said, we're a peculiar people.
Yeah, you guys are definitely you set yourself aside from your competitors by your customer service, and you just don't talk the talk, you walk the walk, and that's something I really appreciate it. I've had Mike call me and say, "Hey, Dave," or almost said my name. Keith, you can take that part out. Say, "Hey, buddy, you got an order coming. It's leaving today," and you'll send a little video out, and it's awesome.
Yeah, that's something we started, I guess, almost 2 years ago now. Every customer that has their phone number on their profile, basically, when we have their order ready, built, and it's headed to our shipping department, we'll send them a personalized video showing them that their order's ready. It kind of gives anybody a last minute to add something onto it or change a color. Sometimes that happens, and then we send it into the shipping department.
Very cool. I've never heard of that either. That's so cool.
That's old school, customer service right there.
Yeah.
It's a lost art. I mean, you have lifelong customers. That's the way I feel with that, whole thing.
Because you're keeping the human connection there.
Hey, I'd like for you guys to go over some of the names, because you have some very creative names for your kits. Can you go over some of the names and maybe explain a little bit about how they came about?
Yep. So the flagship product was the Bear Fac, and that's because Bear started it from Bear Independent. And then we have the Bear Minimum, which is kind of the little brother to the Bear Fac. It has boo-boo capabilities, but still massive bleed capabilities, but it doesn't cover the full Marchi algorithm. And then we have the Ankle Kit, which is, pretty standard. It goes on your ankle. We have the Travel Fac, which is built for vehicles. It's designed to go right on the back of a headrest, and it has really easy rip-away components.
The operator fac or the op fac.
Yep. So we have the op fac, which is going to be like your cool guy, tactical, goes on your belt, can be deployed from left or right side.
Or your plate carrier.
Yep. Or your plate carrier. It has a dangler, so you can dangle it from the front of your plate carrier. We have the Boo Boo Kit, which is a pretty easy one. We have a Belt Kit, which is designed to either go horizontal or vertical on your belt line.
But it was designed for Narcan too.
Yep. It was designed to carry Narcan for law enforcement officers, as kind of, why we created it in the beginning. But it has just a tourniquet, shears, chest seals, S-mark, and compression bandage. So it's really compact. That's what we'll recommend a lot of the times for guys who have chainsaws. Something to be able to have.
Especially if you're climbing the tree.
Yeah, something compact that can be on you. We have the SOB kit, which stands for small of the back. It was designed to be in the middle of your back on your belt line. What else do we have? We have the Slick. We have the Slick kit, which is named Sexy Leg and Khakis. The guys here love acronyms. That's kind of how they've built quite a few of them.
The turd in the shirt.
Yeah, the turd in the shirt aren't kits though. They're components.
Components.
So we have the turd, which is a tactical utility retention device. It is what holds the tourniquet on most of our kits.
Yeah, it's a bungee cord.
It is. It's a paracord bungee with a cool doggle on it, but that's what it does. And then what other kits do we have?
Adventure.
So we have the adventure kit that's made for going on adventures or hikes.
The kiddo.
The kiddo is designed for kids. We have the desk kit, which is, we built it to be able to fit the form factor of a file in a filing cabinet. So teachers can have it in their filing cabinet. It's not in the way. Nobody would know it was there until you needed it.
Well, and also the point behind that is if school goes on lockdown, there's a first aid trauma kit in the classroom, not in the nurse's office 3 halls away.
Yep. Yeah, being able to have something in the classroom is definitely what we found that people needed. We would walk into schools and there'd be a first aid kit by the AED in the center of the hallway or down by the nurse's station. And as we've seen, when schools, something happens, it's on lockdown. They're kind of either shelter in place or they're out of the building.
That's when the kiddo kit came for the kiddos to have in their backpacks.
Yep. The kiddo kit was kind of designed for kids to have in their backpacks, more probably older kids or teens or college students, something to be able to be compact and in their backpack. And it has the child tourniquet, the Slishman pressure wrap in there.
The road rash kit, that's more of a poly bag.
Yeah, so I was going to say the Stomp bag is the SEAL Team Operational Medical Pack. So that's the full field hospital on your back. And then we have the Field Medic, which is a step down from the Stomp bag, but it's going to cover, it's a medic supply of stuff for the field. So you can do a lot from that.
It's kind of like I don't know. It's kind of, I refer to it as like our unit ones we had. That was my big backpack that I would carry, similar to what I would carry when I was in the service. So it's about that same size. It's like a 72-hour bag, like from 511 or something, that size.
Right. Yeah.
So It sounds like you guys are multi-dimensional. You put a lot of thought and a lot of effort into your kits, and you can tell.
A lot of our kits have come from people wanting custom kits, and it was a space in the market that nobody was filling, and it was a need that we just kept getting asked for over and over again. So we decided to fill that need and create something that was custom for that person. I mean, the desk kit started because a teacher wanted to be able to fit something compact in her filing cabinet. And then we have like bankers or people who work at offices, and that's just what they have.
Well, we even have a 3-piece suit kit for the guys that wear 3-piece suits. It's called the suit. It goes in your inner pocket.
Yeah. And it all started because somebody or a bunch of somebodies asked us, to make something to fill a space that nobody else was filling. They couldn't find anything that worked for them.
Hey, let's talk about some training that Refuge has. You've mentioned several times that there's different trainings. So how does somebody get training from Refuge?
Yeah, so right now, the end of May 30th, we're actually doing a virtual workshop. This will be the first time that we're doing a virtual, pretty hands-on training that TJ Bear is going to be putting on. It's going to cover the full Marchi algorithm, tourniquets, chest seals, wound packing gauze. So that's something that anybody can do from anywhere. Turn it on their screen and be able to watch it and learn. And then we have hands-on training here at our headquarters in Oklahoma. So we're located in Spiro, Oklahoma. Fort Smith, Arkansas is going to be the biggest town. There's an airport you can fly into there. And we do scenario-based training. So we either have a 1-day or a 2-day. The 1 day is going to give you the block of instruction in the morning. We are not death by PowerPoint. There is some PowerPoint to get some information and instruction across. And then we do a lot of hands-on application. So we apply tourniquets. We use wound packing cubes to practice wound packing. And then we do scenarios. So the 2-day course, which is the full 20-hour training, is going to be very scenario-based training, where we have, mass casualty events or a motor vehicle accident. And we'll basically put you into the scenario. There'll be a cadre there that kind of supports you or, watches you go through it. And then we'll stand there and give you a debrief AAR of how you handled the situation. Did you have auditory exclusion? Did you have visual? Did you tunnel vision? So that you know what you can practice on as you're training and moving forward. So that's definitely something I feel like we do differently. Is we have the max students we have in one class is 30 people, and we'll have 3, 4, 5 cadre instructors at that point, so that there's a really good ratio there from student to instructor.
Yeah, and also TJ does some regional homesteading events like Kentucky Sustainable Living and Mountain Readiness and Tennessee and stuff like that. And he'll do talking about prepper and homesteading stuff. And then like this in Kentucky for Kentucky Sustainable Living in July, we're going to do a 4-hour class out there in Kentucky in Bowling Green for the folks that are at that event.
How realistic and immersive is your training? Are we talking like blood squirting and that kind of stuff?
Oh, yeah, fake blood, but yes.
Yes, there is definitely moulage and wounds and fake blood. There's also dirt and sweat and a fire hose.
And calisthenics and fire hose. Yeah, we smoke you pretty much. We can get your heart rate up, and we're gonna stress you out a little bit. We're not gonna put you in any danger, but we do stress you out.
You're gonna be uncomfortable, but you're never gonna be in danger.
It's good stuff. I've done it.
The dumbed down 2CCC version that the military gives their kids. I say kids now because I'm old, but they're soldiers.
Yeah, it's good training. It's better training I got in the military, and it is definitely not death by PowerPoint.
No.
So, and even the video, your video training or your virtual training is top notch too. I mean,
yeah. And then we have some instructors that will come in. Like we have Evan from Radio Made Easy coming in to do a radio class. So if you have a radio and don't know how to use it, or you just kind of need to brush up on your knowledge, he'll take you from zero to hero with your radio. So he's coming at the end of June. And then we have had a combat midwife who teaches.
She's badass.
She teaches the guys in the military how to help somebody, birth a child over in those austere environments. And she does a lot of tinctures and remedies that she'll actually give you.
She's like an herbalist. She's badass.
Yeah, she's an herbalist that also teaches like Navy SEALs how to help women give birth.
She's a paramedic also. But
she's awesome. So she'll come in and do some training sometimes. So we've met some really cool instructors that we get to be able to bring into the refuge.
And as you know from our conversations, buddy, the deployments that Grindstone does at Bear's part of, where you've done or have knows people that have done some drone work and or help out the overall mission of Grindstone, and that's where a lot of we meet people too that way.
Yeah, I have to say that, you know, the deployment I did with Grindstone was definitely a life changer. And we got to go out there and perform and do some good things in our niche, I guess, operations. And, you know, I'm banned for life with holding a chainsaw. So haven't been able to go on the chainsaw deployments, but maybe I can contribute in other ways, like pass out coffee. I don't know what I can do, but those deployments are definitely life changing, because I went to Mississippi a couple of years ago, and I came back a different person. My wife was like, "Who are you, and what did you do with my husband?" So yeah, I'm tracking, brother. So if somebody wants to find Refuge Medical, where do we find you?
Yeah, so we're refugemedical.com as our website. And you guys actually have a code. So all the listeners that you guys are listening, you can use TOPS10, so TOPS10 on our website. That'll get you 10% off anything and everything in the store if you decide to put it all in your cart. And then Instagram, we're Refuge Medical. We're on Facebook and TikTok, and YouTube is our Refuge Medical and Training. So you can kind of find us we're on Rumble, and I don't know what new platforms the marketing department keeps putting us on every day, but you'll find us just about anywhere on social media.
Absolutely outstanding. Thank you so much for that too. That's very generous. 10% for our listeners. Nice. Awesome. Tops 10. I like it.
I was going to say, if you can save some money, do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Brittany and Mike, thank you guys so much for coming on. It's been absolutely outstanding. And I'm hoping that maybe one day we can get you back on again, you know, have some fun, maybe do some scenario type stuff.
Sure.
Sounds great. We really appreciate you guys having us on.
My prepper brothers and sisters, there are plenty of preps we can gather that meet the bare minimum of requirements to get us through the day. I'm a big fan of being chintzy on certain gear. Example, I'd rather have 10 mediocre $20 pocket knives than one $200 top of the line folder. But that's just me. No need for you to agree. But when it comes to saving my life or the life of another, this is one prep I can't afford to get wrong. I won't do it. You shouldn't either. Our first aid and medical training as preppers cannot be an afterthought. Maybe think about it another way. If a loved one of yours was out there in a world of hurt and in need of medical assistance, you'll be praying that the Good Samaritan who stopped to help and has your loved one's life in their hands made the right choice when choosing their first aid preps. Think on it. Make good choices. Stay prepped. Stay happy. Thanks for listening, and good night.
I always try to take the long way home. Skip familiar places that I know. I always seem to find the open road. I'm looking for it everywhere I go. Hey, this is life in the badlands. Forget about the reason. Don't know what you're doing. But try to catch the feelings. You make me smile. I just stay a while. This is life in the badlands. This is life in the badlands. I'm always making friends along the way. So pack your bags and let's leave for the day. Take your worries, make them go away. Turn the music up and let's escape. This is life in the badlands. Forget about the reason. Don't know what you're doing. But try to catch the feelings. You make me smile. I just stay a while. Just believe and follow me. This is life in the badlands, badlands. Forget about the reason. Don't know what you're doing. Try to catch the feeling.